Hey y'all, thank you for joining me for this month's episode of Soul Food Sundays. If it's your first time joining me, my name is Keita, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It's been a minute, and I know the last time that I linked up with y'all, I was like, I'm gonna start doing Soul Food Sundays live. But the way my energy been set up, coupled with the way my schedule's been set up, that's just not been working out. So it's gonna be a combination of the two going forward, where when I have the time and the energy to do a live reading for Soul Food Sundays, I will, but otherwise I'm gonna make sure to get a recorded reading out to you guys. So yeah, I have felt very compelled, divinely led to bring forth a message with all that's going on. You got the Nottoway plantation that burned yesterday. You got the Diddy trial and so many other things being revealed. Lots of revelations and reckonings taking place that I just wanted to come down here and chop it up with y'all and continue our conversation about astrology for the soul and its commentary on the North Node being in Pisces, which it will be until sometime in, I think, the summer of 2026. So that's a very important placement that we're needing to pay attention to in terms of astrology. So we're gonna get right into it, and I'm also gonna close us out with a reading with the Moonology cards, because there's a message that wants to come forth. Like, our ancestors in spirit, guys, our team of light is definitely trying to get our attention. And just like the siren you hear in the background, baby, it is loud. So one thing that has come to my mind is that, y'all, we have got to be paying attention. We've got to be paying attention to the signs and synchronicities and know that they go beyond just seeing angel numbers and license plates. Like, the spirit realm is definitely sending us messages. The fact that the Nottoway plantation burned yesterday is no coincidence. That's the largest plantation in the South, from what I was reading, that housed over 150 slaves and has since the emancipation of slavery profited off of being a wedding venue and a golf course or something like that. You know, there are plantations all over, not just the United States, but the world, that people still visit and use as event venues and things of that nature. Like the dehumanization of a race of people is something to be celebrated and heralded. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox on that. Just know that a monument like that burning is no small feat, and is definitely a sign. So on a grand scale, we're being led to leave some things behind, to burn some bridges, to burn some monuments that we've built that no longer serve us or never served us. And on a personal level, in our own individual lives, we're being led to do that as well. And so that's really leading me to the commentary from astrology for the soul, because last time we got together, we talked about on Soul Food Sundays live the attributes that need to be developed during this North Node in Pisces placement. But now we're leaning more into the South Node, which is the things that we need to leave behind. And the South Node is in Virgo. So off the bat, we know that Virgo is very much associated with perfectionism. So we're needing to leave that behind. We already know that that's something that we're needing to leave behind. But let's see what else it would serve us to leave behind during this period that the North Node is in Pisces and the South Node is in Virgo. So it says here, tendencies to leave behind. When we're working to reduce the influence of these tendencies, it can help make life easier and more enjoyable. With everything that's going on between the current presidential administration and the economy and the things of that nature, things that are taking place in pop culture, we need different ways to make life more enjoyable, or else we all be around here depressed. And so one thing we're needing to do is leave behind hyper anxiety reactions. And in order to do that, you need to be able to identify what hyper anxiety reactions look like for you. And that's going to be different for everybody. I know for me, my anxiety gets heightened when I have consumed caffeine, and then when something happens, because I don't drink coffee, but I do take pre-workouts for going to the gym. And when something happens and I have that in my system, my anxiety is heightened. And what that looks like is not being able to think straight, moving from one thing to the next without completing the thing that I was focused on at first, going down a rabbit hole of worry and stress, and like thinking about how one thing might go wrong, and then that catapults it to 3 or 4 other things. Not being grounded. I just feel very ungrounded when I'm in that state, and I stress on a whole nother level. So because I know that that's a hyper anxiety reaction for me, and I'm aware of it, I then know like to cut back on the caffeine when I'm already stressing, or to go outside and ground, to hydrate and things of that nature, to balance myself out. So we want to be mindful of our hyper anxiety reactions. We also want to be mindful of over analysis, over analyzing things. Like, give yourself a cutoff before you go down the rabbit hole of analyzing things too much, because that's just adding to the stress. You know what I'm saying? Don't get so involved in things and so in depth with your analysis of things that it begins to stress you out and knock you off center. So that's something to pay attention to. Over analysis. Obsessive worry, that goes back to the hyper anxiety, but the hyper anxiety is speaking more to how you react to the obsessive worry. But you want to nip the obsessive worry in the bud, because ultimately, if you trust in the divine and you trust in the divine plan, then you know that all things are working out for your highest good, and you have no need to worry. You know that you are safe and secure and protected, and if you don't feel protected, start doing you some protection work. Get them black candles working. Get you some herbs that are synonymous with protection, like rosemary and thyme, and burn them, and sage and things of that nature. Like, work that hand, work them roots, to bring forth that energetic protection, and also to better help make you feel more secure. Work with your root chakra, as that governs your sense of protection, feeling protected and secure and stable. So do your root chakra work when you notice that you are in a state of obsessive worry, because worrying, it's part of the human experience, but you're meant to notice it and reel that shit in. You know what I'm saying? You're not meant to just keep falling down the rabbit hole. So another tendency that we need to leave behind is exaggerating the importance of details. Stick to the facts, stick to the point, and don't make things more important than they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you really sit and analyze the details of things, don't put 10 on 2. So be mindful of where in your life and when in your life you do that, because that's adding to your stress and your anxiety, and those are things that we need to leave behind. So a lot of this is just very like behavioral. We're being called forth to be mindful of how we're showing up, and not passing the buck. This is about self. All of this is about holding a mirror to yourself, so that as you are aligning with your North Node energy, this North Node in Pisces, and whatever your personal North Node is in your chart, that you are moving towards your North Star, that you are heading in the right direction. Just saw 1010 as we close out these toxic cycles that are influenced by patriarchy and capitalism, and years of oppression and being lied to and hoodwinked and run amok and bamboozled, in the words of the great Denzel Washington, who played Malcolm X. So yeah, another tendency that we need to leave behind is critical first reactions. Pay attention to how you respond to things. And also our first reaction being one that's very critical, that we're criticizing things instead of aiming to understand or learn. One thing that I am an advocate of is that at any point you can be the teacher and a shift from being the teacher to the student and back again. So always being open to learn instead of being judgmental or critical, especially as it relates to it being your go-to, your first response, your first reaction. If you're familiar with like those jobs that are considered first responders, the police, the ambulance, the fire department, the way they respond is so important. And so you got to think of it like that in your life. How do you show up to things, and put more value on how you show up for different scenarios and situations, and how you respond to things, because sometimes there's no coming back. There's no changing the trajectory after you've made that initial response and been critical, where you could have been receptive and open-minded and also compassionate. So you want to be mindful of that and leave that behind. And we already discussed this one, and I didn't even know this was listed here. But the next one is fault finding, making others wrong. Listen, that victim mentality, victimhood, pointing the finger, quit worrying about who's to blame and just focus on the lesson for you. Like I was just telling a group of youth that I was talking to about how important it is in life to take away the meat and leave the bones. And in a lot of situations, the bones are the whatever they did and how they got you fucked up, how they did you wrong, and the details of what was done. The meat, the substance, is in seeing yourself. How did you show up? What is the lesson for you? Did you hold your boundaries? Did you speak up for yourself? Did you overgive? Were you codependent? How did you align with the situation that you found yourself in, opposed to putting so much emphasis and blame and focus on the other characters and variables involved in the situation? Because ultimately you're the main character. You stuck with you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going nowhere, no matter how much solitude you want, how much you try to regress and be to yourself. You're gonna always be with you. So it's important to place your focus on yourself, so that you can learn the lessons and get the gems that were meant for you to get in situations, opposed to pointing the finger and making a big deal out of who's to blame. Those are tendencies that we need to leave behind, that we're being called to leave behind. Also, being Mr. or Mrs. Perfect. I knew that it being a South Node in Virgo, that perfectionism aspect was going to come up. And there it is. Being Mr. Perfect. Listen, stop taking shit so seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously. You're going to make mistakes. Things are not always going to be perfect, and the best way to move is to accept yourself as perfect as you already are. You know what I'm saying? Quit picking yourself apart and putting yourself down and dimming your light, and pointing out your flaws and imperfections as like it's a badge of shame, opposed to a badge of honor. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are spiritual beings, having a human experience. And that being the case, imperfection is just part of the game. And that's okay. Your flaws are perfect in the divine's eyes. You know, we quick to say God don't make no mistakes, and then we start pointing out all the mistakes that we feel like the divine has made. No, leave that shit behind. The next thing, the tendency that we're needing to leave behind is staying in unpleasant situations. You know you ain't happy. You know that situation don't fulfill you. You know you complaining about that thing every 2.5 seconds. Know that you always have a choice. Leave. Change something. Move some shit around. Be vocal, but stop staying in unpleasant situations, places, careers, relationships. If you're unhappy about your size or your aesthetic, change it. You always have a choice, and that choice lies with you, and it's not nobody else's fault, nor is it their responsibility, especially if you are an adult. So you want to exercise your sovereignty, your freedom to change those unpleasant situations and change the narrative, to change your circumstance. And also, and last but definitely not least, a tendency that we need to leave behind is inflexibility. Some of us are so rigid and stubborn that we block our blessings. And you know, people are quick to say you can't miss nothing that's for you, but I beg to differ. You could fuck yourself out of a very good situation. It's called self-sabotage. So be mindful of self-sabotaging relationships, opportunities. If you come from poverty in any way, abandonment, know that there's some part of you that very well self-sabotages. But you want to be flexible. You want to be open-minded. You don't want to be so rigid that you block your blessings, that you miss out on not only your blessings but your lessons, which ultimately lessons are blessings. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a blessing to learn. So we need to be grateful for all things, and in our gratitude we need to be more flexible and know that it's not just a matter of being open, but know that it's a calling. It's a requirement to be more flexible in your thinking, to be discerning about what you need to stand strong and firm on, and what you need to be more flexible on in terms of your boundaries, your beliefs, your day-to-day activity and your schedules, how giving you are, how receptive you are. We're needing to assess our flexibility and leave behind inflexibility, because one thing for certain and two things for sure, change is inevitable, and change requires flexibility. Even the trees, as firm and strong as they are flexible. Y'all ever seen how branches move? You know what I'm saying? So be mindful of that. These mosquitoes are tearing me up. I am going to close us out with a reading from the Moonology cards, because with everything that we are experiencing as a collective, not to mention like the movie Sinners. I slick want to do a video on Sinners. I kind of wanted the hype to die down a little bit, and I still may do it, but so much symbolism and such a wealth of knowledge, and so many historical facts were shared in that movie, as well as it just being super entertaining. But it was an eye-opener for a lot of people as it relates to hoodoo culture and vampirism and things of that nature. Like, so much is being brought to our awareness and our attention, and on such a grand scale, that we have got to pay attention. We have got to pay attention to the messages, the signs, the synchronicities. Pay attention to your dreams. But we're going to tap in with the Moonology to see what message wants to come forward for the collective at this time. So Spirit, we thank you, we honor you, we welcome you into this space, and we ask that you bring forth the best message for the highest good of the collective at this time. And two cards fell out face up. First one being New Moon in Libra, a new romantic cycle begins. So for some of you personally, you're entering a new romantic cycle. And for some of you or all of us collectively, we're entering a new romantic cycle where love is at the forefront. not all of this other shit that would distract us from being loving, like racism and homophobia and sexism and elitism and all the isms and all the phobics. We're entering a cycle where we're creating new earth, and that is very much romantic. That is very much tantric, where we are being called forth to enjoy the senses, smells, taste, feel, and things of that nature, and be more present. The scales are being balanced. So you're very much seeing that new moon in Libra energy, where there's a manifestation of balance taking place for the collective. And it's not going to be overnight. It's going to be a while. Y'all hear them sirens in the back? That's the sign of Archangel Michael's presence, where Archangel Michael's coming through with that sword of light and cutting out all the toxic shit so that we can move lighter, so that we can enjoy the fruits of our labor, so that we can take back all that the locust has stolen and enjoy it. So you're going to definitely be seeing changes on a grander scale being made to help us to cultivate and enjoy new earth, heaven on earth. Because for many of us, we've been living in hell. For all of us, we've been living in hell, but it's all about your level of consciousness, your mind state, your level of awareness. You could create heaven on earth for yourself. The second card that came out is adjustments are required. Third quarter moon, because some changes need to be made. There are some tendencies that need to be left behind. There are some laws and some policies and some people that need to be deaded. There are some plantations, some monuments, some towers that need to fall, that need to be burned down. There are some mind states that need to be changed. Adjustments are required for this new romantic cycle to begin, and for us to be able to fully enjoy the new romantic cycle. At the top of the deck, we have nothing is yet set in stone, because we're coming out of a space where things have been unsettled. Foundations have not been laid, or have been laid on faulty ground. But the towers are falling, and they are being divinely led to fall. The falling of Babylon is being very divinely orchestrated. And at the bottom of the deck, we have take time to breathe out. As a collective, there will come a time where we'll be able to breathe. It's like the whole collective is just waiting to exhale. And for those of us who have the eyes to see, that activated third eye, we see it coming. We see it coming, and we're also cultivating that within our lives daily, from moment to moment. That exhalation, that breathing out, and creating the changes and making the adjustments that our ancestors, that really go beyond their furthest imagination for us as a collective. So y'all, I hope this message found you well. If it did not find you well, I hope that it leaves you well. I hope that something was said that penetrates your heart, mind, body, and soul. If you need a personal reading, feel free to email me at turquoisemajesty@gmail.com, or you can book on my Etsy shop at etsy.com/turquoisemajesty for my online services. But yeah, y'all, until next time, peace.